Why is your main so humble and cool and everyone else is a dumb piece of shit? I've heard that a lot lately. Why did you guys say everyone's being hateful in the comments? Bryan being difficult is a lie to make Bryan players seem like they godlike, but really they just counter-hitting you from half screen. No, I mean, I'm not even a Bryan main. Bryan, I mean, if you listen to my video, yeah, Bryan is probably the hardest character in the game. Have you even played Bryan? And to be honest, if Bryan is standing here and you're running into 3-4 all the time, and orbital, if you're gonna give Bryan such an easy win, but you run into 3-4 and orbital, I just think you're the problem. That's the most basic thing in all of Tekken, just standing like this and throwing keep out. If you lose to that, in my opinion, that you should reevaluate more how you play rather than is Bryan difficult or not. But everyone can run the experiment. Everyone can play Bryan and see what's up. This is a good list. I just hate that people think just because a character's on the easier side, they're going to fully get carried. Of course. It only works till you get to the actual high ranks where knowledge matters. In high ranks, you have to really excel with Jin, Lars, and even Asuka, since her moves aren't the fastest and people can easily punish them. Asuka is terrible in high ranks. She's pretty much trash. Every character in this game has something though, but Asuka is really weak. Lars can compete and Jin can compete. Yeah. And Jin is not easy. Jin, I think I said, was intermediate. Lars is easy though. Asuka, no, Lars is super easy. Asuka is easy. She's not super easy. 3 hours to talk about how hard Kazuya is. Main man needs to be stopped. I will never stop. I clicked just to hear you say how difficult Kazuya is. Yeah, he is one of the hardest characters in the game, but he's also really strong. He's really strong. I think both of those are correct. For anyone who needs to hear this, there's nothing wrong with using an easy character. It's a video game. Fun comes first. It shouldn't feel like a job. That's completely correct. And I think a lot of people are being very negative these days and hate the game, hate every time they play the game. Try to have fun. Yeah, if you can create fun, do that. Zafina didn't feel that easy to me. Maybe if you do one and dones and never rematch, but people catch on after that. Used to play Azucena and she was child's play in comparison. Azucena is more complicated. Sorry, did I say Azucena? Zafina is more complicated than Azucena. 100%. I completely agree with you. But there's something to be said about the character that has a low launcher that people don't react to. There's something to be said, as I said in this video, about Arsa and Ash being able to run. Atif Butt did it as well. They run into Yonding's face, and as a 50-50 they use a snake edge. There's a massive amount of carry potential on a character that people have that little familiarity with, and also coupled with the insane evasion Zafina has. But she is more complicated than Azucena. Absolutely, I agree with you. Reina being very difficult is cap. I will die on this hill. Yeah, this a lot of people objected to, you guys in the chat, when I said that Reina is extremely difficult. She is. I've played her. I think she's very difficult to play. Every Reina I see is a highly skilled Tekken player. She requires a ton of execution. She has an extremely complicated moveset. I think you have to be very quick on your feet. As I said to player, you always have to adapt in like half a second to what your opponent is doing. Did it hit? Did I counter it? Was it blocked? Then you change what you do. In my opinion, play Reina and see how you do, is what I would say. The way a lot of commenters are whining about certain characters like Bryan is pretty telling about what the medium player struggles with. I don't even mean this as an insult. It's just really, really telling about how different of a game it is compared to higher level of play, when people have good matchup knowledge and have a higher defensive proficiency versus people who are still familiarizing themselves with the system, don't know the knowledge checks or the very specific answers to troublesome moves or weird gimmicky strings they haven't seen before. It's of course very different. Like if you play Tekken in beginner, that's different to intermediate. Intermediate is different to high level. High level is different to Evo top 8, which we see as pro play. But I've stated many times why Bryan is one of the most difficult in the game. I saw Nee made similar remarks when he said that Bryan plays basically Tekken 7 in a game where everyone has BS diarrhea coming out of their bunghole. Bryan is way too honest, he's way too nice in a pretty dishonest game. He's way too basic and bare bones. Anytime a Bryan wins, he 100% outplays you in my opinion. He just beats you at core Tekken. Super basic core Tekken. Like the gentleman described before. I just got counter hit to death. Yeah, he had better timing than you and better spacing than you. I know you get upset to hear that, but that is just the truth. He outplayed you. Yeah. Me playing Victor. He's brain dead, you're carried. Me switch to Raven on... Oh, no one knows him, you're carried. There will always be an excuse. Play who you like. You still have to beat people online in over matchup. You are brain dead carried when you play Victor. I mean, I'm not going to demonstrate it again, but his while running 2 is a very poorly designed attack. It's almost on par with Azucena while running 3-2, in my opinion. Tracks way too much, +5, highly damaging mid-counter hit launcher. I remember how annoyed people were with Geese's running shoulder, his while running 1 in Tekken 7. Here's the same thing, but it counter hit launches and it's +5 on block. Who thought this was a good idea? No, that move is really dumb. It's exceptionally dumb. Me switch to Raven. Oh, no one knows him. You're carried. Again, play the character you have fun with, I would say. Yeah. Am I the only one who only watches the part where he talks about your main? I really hope not. Watch the entire thing. I get ad revenue through the entire thing. No ad blocks. Watch everything. Yeah. The Feng rant is gold. Everyone who doesn't play Feng felt that. Yeah, Feng Wei is the best character in the game. I think Dragunov does more damage and has some interesting setup utility. But I think for all intents and purposes, Feng Wei is a perfect character. You guys need to stop using this character unfamiliarity argument. Zafina has been in the game since Tekken 6. Yeah, and that doesn't change the fact that Yonding and pro players eat Snake Edge when Zafina does it. Just doesn't change that fact. It's like when Kaiser, Chad, Lucky Chloe main from the US, he said that he's such a Chad. He's very honest about his character. And he says, yeah, she has a lot of BS. And he said, no one knows the matchup. He said that even among pro players in the US, it's a minority who truly know the matchup. So character unfamiliarity is very real. And it's because it's a very complicated game with so many characters, and Lucky Chloe, you know, it's once in a blue moon you see someone play her. And Nina and Zafina in easy category? Nah, I disagree. You're very welcome to do so. Sure, Nina has moves you can abuse, especially with an average opponent, but at high level play, better players will catch on to her spam, and her execution can get very difficult in my opinion. You are correct, I would agree. I do agree that she doesn't have to rely on high execution quite as much as she did in previous Tekkens though. That is also true, yeah. Zafina definitely has easier execution, but I feel she is very tricky to properly use, and you have to work harder for wins. Wait, it's easier execution, but I feel she's very tricky to properly use, and you have to work harder for your wins. There's a reason people are begging for buffs for Zafina. Well, that's basically people who play high-level ranked. I don't think anyone else is struggling too much playing Zafina. I don't remember what her win-loss ratio was like. And I think you made some good points here. I agree with certain things. But I think Zafina is a double-edged sword in that, yeah, you're correct, she's a little bit tricky to use. Free stances, gonna link it all together. But the thing is, your opponent has no clue what you're doing. And that's always such a big help in this game. Reina is super annoying. Just play the game when I'm visiting a friend who I play Tekken with for a long time, and almost everything she does seems to be highly evasive or plus on block. Because of the rarity of me playing the game, this will take a really long time to mentally manifest for matchup knowledge. Dude, I get super annoyed at Reina. I get super because I'm just blocking. It's Heihachi all over again, but even more tricky. I just block, and I'm really practicing the matchup. I'm really trying to get good at it because there is counterplay. And I agree, she's super annoying. It's like a rabies hamster just crawling away at your testicles, and it stings. It hurts. But there's a lot of work playing Reina. Those two are true at the same time. She's so annoying, but she's super fucking hard to play. Yeah, both of those can be true. Love the content as always. This one is a bit lengthy, so I'll have to watch it later when I get time, but I'm excited to watch. I usually like Main Man's opinions and how he explains them. Very knowledgeable and charismatic guy for sure. I would love to suck his dick and for him to hold my hand and fuck my girlfriend. Jeez. No, I added a little bit of juice to that, but I really appreciate that, man. That is super kind, and I'm so happy you appreciate my opinions. Thanks. As a Steve player, I can only say it is so hard to play with him. You are right in every word you said. Massage this guy's dick. But no, Steve is super hard to play. I don't play him in Tekken 8. I don't like him in Tekken 8, but Steve players deserve a pat on the back. Well, a lot of characters deserve a pat on the back because we all have to go up against Dragunov and Fengu and Azucena. Everyone deserves a pat on the back. Unless you play those characters. You don't deserve a pat on the back. But Steve players are chads. It's very tough, this game, on Steve. Let's go, Steve. Gets the respect he deserves, for sure. Honestly, despite the changes, being a Steve main nowadays is really satisfying. Every win feels earned. You earned it. Yeah. Oh man, my favorite type of content from you. Nice. Bryan being difficult is a lie to make Bryan players seem the way I got. Oh, wait, are we looping? Or did he write that twice? Did he write that twice? Bryan being difficult is... This one is also highly upvoted. Bryan being difficult is a lie to make Bryan players seem like they godlike, but really they just counter hitting you from half screen. Like, the thing is, there are multiple things we can discuss here. If a Bryan player, again, he has no panic buttons, he manages to create this distance on you, that's already well done by him, right? And then he stands here, and now he does the most predictable thing in the world, which you probably see coming because you're ranting about it. All he has to do is stand full screen and do counter hits. You already know it's coming. And now you're telling me you are running into this. You are legit running into this every time. Is this a Bryan problem or is it your problem? This is your problem. Yeah. Remember all the rage against Jin on the demo? Now I feel like I barely see him. It's been a roller coaster for me with Jin. I thought he was gonna be complete bullshit, but turns out he's not bullshit. He's there. Don't get me wrong, like he has some annoying attacks. Like especially Samsara is super annoying. Down 2 is annoying. But the reality is, if you are sharp enough and you've muscle memoried it enough, you've seen this enough, practice against this move in practice mode, and I can assure you, you can react to this. Again, not on a bad connection, but this is reactable. So for all intents and purposes, especially in high level or a tournament play, Jin player, you won't see them use this. They will fall back to the classic Jin stuff, which these lows. And Hell Sweep. So yeah, I used to think Jin was BS. Now I've come around to Jin is really strong, and I think he's better than Devil Jin. And I know that might sound insane, but I do believe he's stronger than Devil Jin for sure. But the real BS attacks, it's not this, but it's more like his Demon Paw, which has infinite reach and is very hard to step. Forward 4 remains super strong. Back to 1, up for 2. It's more so of a classic Jin stuff, but it's just pretty brutal. And these lows are really good. It's just the fact he can never be weak, but he's because he's such a complete toolkit. But dude just has everything and then some in this game, like everything and then some, and a complete throw game, and parry remains strong. It's a very strong character. A+. He's not S tier, but he's A+. Reina might have a high skill ceiling, but god damn is that character easy to pick up on flowchart. I don't know if I necessarily agree there. it's not on Alyssa ever. I think you have many other characters you can easily flowchart with compared to Reina. But I do agree that it's probably easy to mash forward 4-2 into Sentai shit. It's just that any decent player is gonna fuck you up the ass for doing that. I main Bryan, and after a week of playing her, matched my peak rank, Fujin. Right, so you main Bryan. But this isn't, to me, a great point, because you're, in my opinion, as I said, I think Bryan is the hardest character in the game. And a Bryan player at Fujin, you have enormously strong fundamentals. You can pick up any character in the game and get them to Fujin. That's how I see Bryan. If you made it to Fujin with that character, there's not a single character you can't get to Fujin, in my opinion. Forward 4-2 and down forward 1 utility is so powerful and simple to use, and there is so much more. I don't think it's fair to say a character is hard because they have too many good moves. I don't understand. You say, I don't think it's fair to say a character is hard because they have too many good moves. So you mean if a character has really good moves, they can't be hard? Is that what you're saying? Does she actually have to play optimally? I mean, Kazuya has a lot of good moves. I still think he's super fucking hard to play. Yeah. Does she actually have to play optimally? Hell no. Is her counterplay obvious? No. It's certainly not. She's super complicated, and the counterplay is complicated. Also, down back 2 and Hell Sweep are not shit lows. I never said Hell Sweep was a shit low. I think I said the opposite. It's a good low. Down back 2 is arguably a shit low. Like, this game has a lot of insane fucking lows. Like, her low, down back 2-2, is launch punishable. And is it -2 on hit or something? Like, there are a lot of really good lows in this game. They've, in fact, buffed a lot of lows in this game. They're way stronger than their Tekken 7 counterpart. And then, of course, a universal a universal buff to lows was the nerfing of low parry. -3 even on hit. And launch punishable. Yeah, that's just not a good low. You know, you use this low because you have to. I'm not saying it's useless, but I wouldn't call it a good low. No. I wouldn't call it a good low. But hard to react to. I mean, that's unreactable. If that was reactable, it would be the worst low of all time. Like, absolutely useless. Whoa, you put so much work into this video. It's actually insane. Very informative with a side of classic main man rant. Really, really enjoyed it. Do you know I start all of my recordings? I say, this time you're gonna keep it short. What the fuck was that 2-hour tier list? Or 3-hour tier list? Let's do this in 20 minutes. And then unfortunately it turns into 3 hours, because if we accumulate a lot of knowledge, we want to share that knowledge. And a lot of people don't know too much about these characters. It's very obvious in my Twitch chat every single day. So that's why if I have a lot of knowledge, I just share it so people know. So if you ever wonder anything about one of these characters, you can go to my tier list, you can go to my difficulty tier list, and you can watch both of those chapters, and it will give you some decent information on them.